A newspaper advertisement. Wanted. Young expert horsemen. Good moral character. Ready to endure severe hardships. Their job? To carry the mail 2,000 miles between St. Joe and Sacramento against the impossible barriers of terrain, weather, Indians, and time.
Mighty nice pony you got there, Sonny.
The name is Dennison. I gave up Sonny with diapers.
We got a spunky boy on our hands, Sam. Manners ain't too good, though. Oh, of course, with a little teaching, he might learn some, though, Sam. Yes, sir. Sure getting some mighty fine horses to carry the mail with, Lily, ain't they, Sam? And they got babies riding them. Up, boy. Up.
Kenny's sort of particular about who touches his bridle. So am I. Easy, boy.
Grab him, Sam.
You don't get this, man.
Boys want to fight. Pick on some men. Now get out of here. What started all this?
He put his dirty paws on Kenny's bridle, and I clouted him.
Looks like you was the one that got clouted.
Well, I'd have broke loose, and there'd have been a murder if you hadn't honed in.
Oh, yeah, you were in a real good position for a murder. Yours.
Now, you've got to hold in that southern temper of yours, Kit. The Overland wants riders, not fighters.
Sure, Mr. Clark. I'll hold in, as long as nobody upsets me.
Well, that's a fair proposition. Have you had breakfast?
I ate at Muskie's. Just going in here for another coffee.
You better do without it. You've got about 5 minutes to get over to the corral and on your run.
I'll do it in 3.
Okay.
He's a good rider, but he's sure a hot-headed kid.
Well, they raise them on chili and red peppers down south.
Now, Jed, you take good care of Kenny till I get back, and I'll bring you a Sioux tomahawk.
If it's sticking in your skull, I'll like it fine.
Well, how was the trip, Saul?
Bumpy and dusty. Besides, I got a complaining Frenchman and his niece inside.
A female? Get her out. Welcome to Julesburg, miss. You're sure an addition to our beautiful little city.
You all call this beautiful and a city?
Well, it's the best little town south of Fort Kearney. In fact, it's the only one.
Where's the bar? I'm filthy with dirt from the road and dust in my gullet.
Well, I'm sure this handsome gentleman will conduct you, Uncle.
Ladies first is Overland's motto, Miss...
Marie Darcy.
At your service, Miss Marie.
Why, thank you, those two.
Yes, bring my bag also. It holds the brush that straps my back.
Well, the hotel furnishes a curry comb with every bath. Now, if there's anything I can do, miss...
Do you all know a gentleman named Mr. Brett Clark?
Brett Clark. Sounds familiar like, but I can't exactly place him. I can do anything you can do.
But I've come all the way from New Orleans just to see him.
You will please get this Clarkman immediately. He's most necessary to my niece and myself.
Well, if that's the case, guess I could rustle him up. But, I'll be available for dinner, miss.
Thank you. But I seldom dine with children.
Oh, I guess you better bring that big man's bag, too, Jim.
Their coffee is fit only for the cattle dairies. Now let us make our arrangements and leave as quickly as possible.
Supposing Pete Crandall isn't in town.
That is a possibility I refuse to anticipate. And their beds, I am sure, hold already biting occupants.
Well, I hope they're all in your room, mon cher.
And the
A third of
service.
Grandpa Dennison's estate will pay you for your discomforts. Now, why don't you go on downstairs and find your man?
The gunslinger should be in the bar. I go there and try to locate this Pete Crandall.
You're sure you can trust him?
One of my dealer, a Trey Spot, recommended him as trustworthy and accurate.
Who's there?
Brett Clark.
Just a minute, please. I'll introduce you. You go on downstairs. And no cards, you promised.
Gentlemen, come in.
Oh, I believe you're looking for me.
I most certainly am, sir. It's most important that we spend a few moments together, alone.
Well, as I said, Miss Marie, I'll be available.
I'm Marie Darcy from New Orleans.
Well, I'm very pleased to meet you, Miss Darcy.
And this is my Uncle Pierre. He was chaperoning me.
A very pleasant occupation, I'm sure, sir.
Oh, Marie's my favorite niece.
Well, that's easy to understand.
Now, if you both pardon me, I have to meet a friend downstairs. I'll be in the bar when you finish, my dear.
Won't you sit down, Mr. Clark?
Well, thank you. Now, what can I do for you?
Help Uncle and me to find the heir to a considerable fortune.
Well, I'm a superintendent for the Pony Express, Miss Darcy, not a detective. Missing heirs is a little out of my line.
Even if this one happens to be one of your riders?
Hmm?
His name is Kit Dennison.
Young Kit Dennison? Heir to a fortune?
He's the grandson of Calvin P. Dennison, who died in New Orleans 2 weeks ago today.
Well, what do you know? I've got a millionaire writing mail for me.
Killing a Pony Express rider in these parts is not exactly recommended for a long life.
The money offer will compensate for the risk. After you settled matters, I'll meet you in Fort Kearny at the Mansion House, where you can receive the rest of your money.
You got yourself a deal, mister. What'd you say your name was?
I didn't say. Just a friend of Boss Butler.
Well, give Boz my regards when you get back and thank him for recommending me. I'll see you in Fort Kearny.
Kit's a lucky boy to have all that money and a cousin like you thrown in, too.
Well, thank you, Brett. I'm only sorry that he doesn't appreciate his high position in New Orleans society and in Grandpa Dennison's business interests.
Well, Kit's sort of independent. You can't handle him with threats the way your grandfather did.
Well, Grandpa forgave him before he died. He asked us to find him and bring him home.
You know, you're a pretty good tracker. Would you mind telling me how you traced him here?
Oh, I'm afraid there's no mystery to that. Kit wrote his grandfather a letter telling him where he was and what he was doing.
Oh, you wouldn't happen to have that letter with you now, would you?
Yes, I have. I was warned that you'd be a hard man to convince.
I take a lot of interest in what happens to my writers, Miss Darcy.
I think you'll find that authentic. After the will was read, Uncle and I went straight to St. Joe to find Kit, and the Overland office sent us here to you.
Well, it's pretty plain here that he prefers our society to the New Orleans brand.
Well, at least let me talk to him. Try to convince him.
Well, I'd be happy to, but he passed your stage this morning on his route to Fort Kearny.
Is there some way we can follow him?
Well, the next stage isn't due until day after tomorrow. You could hire a rig, but it's pretty rough country. Now, why don't you just...
Would you arrange that rig? We'll start at once. Uncle's been away from his business for so long. Come in.
I thought it was about time you needed my sage advice about something.
Oh, like what?
Well, like getting Miss Marie started out on the right track. There must be something I can do.
Well, as a matter of fact, there is something you can do, Donovan. Hitch up a couple of horses to a rig and bring it around here pronto. Pronto, Donovan.
Three for you, my friend. And two. Let us hope one of which will cheer your heart.
If you draw them both from the top this time, it just might happen.
Are you suggesting, sir, that I am dealing unfairly?
I ain't suggesting nothing. I'm telling you.
You will answer for this, sir. I hope as a gentleman should.
Well, I'm ready any time you are, mister. Go for your gun.
Hold it out. I don't think he carries a gun.
Well, that's pretty risky for a cheating gambler, ain't it, Brett?
My honor has been questioned, Mr. Clark. I assure you wrongly.
Al, this is Mr. Pierre Darcy, the uncle of the young lady who came in this morning by stage from St. Joe.
Does that mean you're answering for him, Brett?
Nobody answers for Pierre Darcy but himself.
Mr. Darcy was just leaving for Fort Kearny with his niece, but since there's a little question about this card game, I'm sure he won't want to cash in his chips until it's settled.
Of course not. But I demand an apology when I return.
In that case, I'm not looking for any trouble. Maybe I was a little hasty.
Maybe you both were. Let's call it quits. Your niece is waiting for you out in the rig. Let's go. When you deal cards in Julesburg, Mr. Darcy, you'd better learn to be a little more careful.
You promised me not to play cards, Uncle Pierre.
Oh, it was only a child's game, merely passing the time.
Just a little misunderstanding, Miss Darcy. No harm done.
Thank you for everything, Brett.
Well, have a nice trip. Watch out for ruts, rattlesnakes, and Indians. Well, mighty nice people, I'd say they were. Can't see what you got to worry about.
I just want to be careful I don't make a mistake.
You already made two of them, Brett. That French dude was dealing from the bottom all right. And he had a private conversation before that at that table right there with Pete Crandall.
How do you get to know a gunslinger like Pete?
I didn't ask him. He gave him some money. I got an eye like an eagle. The good one.
It's very interesting. Let's go, Donovan.
Are we going to have a drink?
Later, I've got more important things to do.
It's more important than a little relaxation. I'll be back. You know, it beats me how you can suspect a beautiful, tender girl with a shape like Marie's.
What's her shape got to do with it?
Either you're getting old or you haven't been around much.
I'm not accusing her, Donovan. It's my job to protect Kit.
Well, when she gets back, don't bother protecting me.
If a man as important as she says her grandfather was died on May 14th, there should be something in the New Orleans paper about it, with a lot of other information.
Well, where are you going to get a New Orleans newspaper over 2 weeks back?
Back copies of the Picayune at the St. Joseph Chronicle office. Jess Morby will send them on to me.
You gonna use up all them riders and ponies to get them?
Yep.
Your hunch better be right.
Well, explain to me why a girl and her card-sharp uncle talk with a hired gun, then take a long, dangerous trip to Fort Kearny when they could stay right here and see Kit when he comes back.
You gonna find out all that in an old New Orleans newspaper?
You never know what you'll find in an old Picayune.
Yeah, Mr. Clark, how's that for making time?
Pretty good, Eddie. You'll find something extra in your pay envelope.
Max in the corral. He'll take care of you. It beats me why somebody don't put some pictures in these papers. All you read is expensive advertisements. Butter, 12 cents a pound. Eggs, 15 cents a dozen.
You're supposed to be looking for death notices, not the price of eggs. Well, here are some pictures for you. Carriages, horse collars, and corsets.
Hey, here you go, Brett. Will of Calvin P. Dennison, financier, leaves bulk of vast holdings to missing grandson. Just like I said, no girl with a face and shape like Marie's is up to shenanigans.
It says here, a feller suing his wife for leaving her false teeth in bed. Claims they bit him.
Well, here's something that charming Miss Darcy didn't happen to mention. In the case of death or non-appearance of his grandson, Kit Dennison, the estate reverts to his niece, the beautiful and charming Miss Marie Darcy.
Well, it just proves what she said. She came all the way out here to find him and take him back home.
Maybe yes and maybe no. But I'm going to Fort Kearney to find out.
Find out what?
Why Pete Crandall headed for Kearney and why they were in such a hurry to get there, too.
Want me to go with you?
No. No, you stay here and take care of things.
Here's a knee snapper. Why does a fireman wear red suspenders?
To keep his pants up.
Well, I hadn't heard it.
Bring the bags and take care of the horses. Bayou water and mud gives more flavor on the tongue.
For goodness sake, sing the Marseillaise and cheer yourself up.
Well, I agreed to be your uncle. Did not elucidate the inconveniences that accompanied.
You saw Pete Crandall start for the barn?
Oh, yes, of course. He assured me it will be done quietly. No gunplay. He should be here in 20 minutes.
Good. I'd hate to see you decorating a tree. There's certainly no Christmas ornament.
Where's Kit? Have you seen him?
In the feed room, sleeping. I seen him go in. He ain't come out.
Thanks, Jake.
Yeah, boy.
By now. Something must have happened. I feel it in my bones.
Oh, my dear Mary, relax. Think of Grandpapa's estate. That should calm your nerves.
You even cheat yourself at solitaire?
I am not cheating. Merely checking the deck. Are you sure this is a full deck? The way I shuffled, the Queen of Diamonds should have been on top.
Sure, I'm glad you came along, though. He had a grip like a mother grizzly with... Well, say, how is it you did come along, Mr. Clark?
Well, I came out here to check on you. Pete Crandall was set to kill you.
What for?
Money?
Well, I haven't got any money.
Oh, yes, you do. You've got lots of it.
I have? Where am I hiding it?
Well, Kit, your grandfather put it away for you before he died.
Grandpa's dead?
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago.
Well, how'd you know? You've been looking me up?
No, your cousin Marie and Uncle Pierre looked you up.
I haven't got any Uncle Pierre.
That's what I thought. You feel like going again?
Well, sure, but tell me more
later,
about...
kid, later. Right now we've got a showdown with Marie Darcy and Pierre, or whatever his name is.
Pierre Marceau. He's a two-bit gambler back in New Orleans.
Marceau. Well, he'd better be holding 4 aces this time. Jake, saddle up Kit's horse.
Where are we going?
The mansion house. Kit, we're going calling.
It should be time enough, even for an amateur, to put a knife between a pair of shoulders. Mon Dieu. Mary, come here, quickly. Stupid fool, he failed.
Oh, double-crossed you.
They're coming for me. What shall I say?
Nothing. We don't know how much Brett Clark's found out. Let him take the lead.
Oh, I know what to do if necessary.
Put that away. Your specialty's handling cards. Mine is handling men. Leave that alone. Go on in there. Who is it, please?
It's Brett, Marie.
Come in. Why, Brett, don't tell me I impressed you enough to have you follow me all the way here.
Well, let's say you did.
Well, that's very flattering.
Hello, Marie.
Kit, darling, we found you. Oh, I'm so glad.
Are you?
Well, of course I am, honey. We didn't know if you were alive or dead.
So you and Pierre decided to settle that point, huh?
Why, whatever do you mean, Brad?
Well, you forgot to tell me about that part of the will that gives you the fortune if Kit is dead.
But he isn't dead. He's very much alive.
I wouldn't be if Mr. Clark hadn't sent for the New Orleans papers and found out about things.
I guess maybe I underestimated Mr. Clark.
That's possible. You see, I got to your hired gun just in time.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No? Well, maybe Pierre does. Come out and join the party, Mr. what did you say his name was?
Marceau, the Tin Horn Sport of Canal Street.
Yeah. Well, I can be pretty persuasive, Mr. Marceau, and I want information from a gunslinger. I think Pete Crandall will be very pleased to give evidence.
Neither of you will be here to enjoy it.
Pierre, put that away. You want to bring the whole hotel up here?
Just giving you good advice, Marceau.
Unfasten your gun belt. Drop it on the floor. Hey, stop it! I surrender.
That's the first sensible thing you've done since you hit the territory. Look out! Hey, how does it feel being rich now?
All right, I guess. Haven't had much time to consider it. Hey!
Huh?
It won't stop me riding Pony Express, will it?
Well, not the money. There's only one thing that can make you lose out.
What's that?
Not getting the mail through on time.
Just what's going to happen to me in Julesburg?
You'll be held there for a trial by a federal judge.
You're not a sheriff. Why make this your business?
Fighting against the life of a Pony Express rider is my business.
But it doesn't have to be. Oh, there are wonderful things to do and times to be had in New Orleans, Brett.
Now, don't waste that on me, Marie. Save that for the judge. You're going to need it. Does everybody from New Orleans pack knives?
I wish Pierre killed you.
You know something funny? So does he. All right, let's get downstairs.